So hi guys, welcome to a new video series. Now, I didn't actually want to do another part work. I'm trying to reduce the amount of part works that I'm doing, but when I saw this, I just couldn't really quite think of the exact phrase that I wanted to say.
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
So this is the first pack. Very iconic piece there. Now this comes from Fan Home, which means that we are getting so many pieces each month. This being the first box, we only get 2 stages. So I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've picked this date, the 13th of October, to start it because I'm kind of roughly working out that the next stages will be in. And then I can get those filmed so that there's you know, it's nice. There'll be issue 2, issue 3, so on and so forth. If I've calculated it wrong, then unfortunately there will be a gap in the series, but it should all even out. So let's have a look at the pack. I'm only going to do this to one video. Now the first thing that we get is the Gumph. Always got to have a look at the Gumph, haven't you? And basically it tells you what you get. It's a fully articulated model, stunning sound effects using original phrases from the film, face shape constructed in silicone, carefully applied metallic grey paint. It's going to be about 2 foot tall. I believe this is a 1:3 scale, which is a little bit odd, but there you go. I do like the holster with a removable gun, with a realistic metal pistol. This is the only icky bit here. Production model, the final version may be slightly different. So I don't know. Gadgets faithfully reproduced from those seen in the original film. Yeah, it's a good model. It looks really good. Obviously it tells you all about the magazines, and it gives you these free gifts. Wow, 3 posters. To be honest with you, I don't get hung up on posters. The cap, to be honest with you, the cap will just be sitting on the shelf for me. I'm not going to wear it day to day. The third gift is a t-shirt. Oh, it comes in size large. I did mention this on a live. I don't remember them asking me for my shirt size, but it says size large. So if you're bigger than a large, you've dipped out there. If you're a tiny person, it looks like you've got yourself a night shirt. If you're, I mean, I can wear a large. I don't normally wear a large, but large is wearable. And the fourth gift will be a battery power pack. So whether that's a battery for this model or it's a power bank, I don't know. Right, are you happy now, Cat? Cat's in the boxes and they've just collapsed. But he can just put up with it. So big old poster you get. Will I put this poster up on the wall? I'm not sure, but it's a nice poster. Now the next thing I noticed, which is kind of cute, this is an old Spitfire magazine from another manufacturer, and this is pretty much a standard size magazine. Look at these. This is the size of the Robocop magazines. They're just slightly smaller. I did kind of make a tongue-in-cheek comment that they're like the tabloids of the part work world. Obviously they're not tabloids because tabloids tend to be a bit sleazy, but I quite like that size of that magazine. Right, so we've got the history of Robocop. Again, I'm only going through this the once. I don't like showing the articles off too much because of copyright. Don't know if it is copyright. Now, they do actually name the parts here. On the Infinity Gauntlet, they don't name the parts. They just got part C67. But I do like the parts being named. And I can actually use the names. So insert the collar into the internal plate, that kind of thing. For a stage 1, I think this looks like quite a hefty build. The only trouble is, I've had a little look at issue 2 as well, and it looks like this is one of those, please make this part, and then stick it on the shelf, and it's going to sit there for over a year. But we'll see. And then there's more articles there. 100 Years of Robots, and then articles on technology. Right, so let's get on with the build. So I've taken all the packaging off camera because you know I hate the noise of packaging. The noise of packaging being done. But you know, right. So these are the parts. So the first one is I'm going to need some kind of picky-uppy stick to help me. So the first one is 1A, which is the helmet, and that in itself is just a beautiful piece. So I've started using the word beautiful a lot. I don't know why, but that's really, really nice. I have a slight concern which I'll get to later on in the video, but it says on the side OCP Police 001. It seems to be lined up properly, and that's rather nice. And that mark was why I had just a little bit of muck on my hands, but that's fine now. Right, so that's piece 1A. Piece 1B is the visor, and I suspect that's going to go inside the helmet, and I've just chucked that piece on the floor. That's plastic. It's fairly flexible, but I wouldn't go bending it a lot. Piece 1C are earpieces. Looks like that's these pieces here. Now they are, oh sorry, I'm off camera. Now these are plastic, but again, plastic when you want a bit of detail, metal when you want a bit of strength. 1D and 1E are the head left and right. This is packaged very well, and do you know what? These are actually pretty good quality plastic. They feel quality. They don't feel, you know, when you buy like cheap imitation stuff from other countries, and you just feel the difference. This does feel pretty good. I'm quite happy with that so far. Right, 1F is the internal plate. Now that's got a rounded bit on it, so is that going near the bottom and there's a bit of movement? I don't know. 1G is the collar. Nice. 1H is the magnet, 1I is the magnet, and 1J is the magnet holder. So that looks like a magnet there, and yep, that's definitely a magnet. And it looks like this is a magnet. No, unless it's unless it's meant to be the other half of this. And 1J is the magnet holder, so that's going to go into there, I suspect. Maybe I've got the wrong one in there. I think I probably have, and we'll see as we build it. So let's move these to one side, and we'll crack on with the build. So we need to start by assembling. I'll tell you what, I'm going to put these to one side. Oh, sorry, I forgot to do the screws, didn't I? So we have got EM screws, we have got AP screws, and QP screws. And I like this numbering. It looks like they're going down the route of, if the screw ends with a P, it's going to be screwed into plastic. And if it ends in an M, it's going to be screwed into metal. Now that sounds like it might be pretty obvious, and I might be quite condescending, but sometimes you get pieces, and there's an awful lot. You've got bits going here, there and everywhere, and it just gives you one extra check. If you find yourself screwing, for example, a CP screw into metal, then you've got the opportunity to go, whoa, hang on, this may not be correct. So it's just one extra little check. And lastly, and I think this should be law, I think all part work should be giving you a screwdriver in issue 1. Now I know most of us, or I suspect most of us who do part works, we've been doing part works long enough now that we've got our own screwdrivers, and this is my favourite screwdriver at the moment. But you got to remember, some people are new to this, could be their first ever part work, and they may not even own a screwdriver. How many 8-year-olds do you know have got a toolkit? Don't answer that one, because you probably all know someone, and I'm the only one that doesn't. But nice little screwdriver. It does the job. It's not going to be Stanley or anything like that. Right, so stage 1, we need to start by assembling the inner part of the head. So 1E is needed, and I believe that's this part, and it says R on it. Inner part of the head. Yes, so 1E is the right side, so this is definitely 1E. Some nice detail on that. Hard to see because it's black plastic. But there you go. And we need to insert the magnet 1L. I. And I believe that's this piece. And that's going to go... Oh, that is a magnet. Now, where exactly does that go? It looks like it wants to go comfortably there. Yeah. So you see, you've got an area there for it to line up, and I'm sorry about the focus. Then the next bit is the internal plate 1F, which is this roundy bit. So already I've made a prediction and got it wrong. And it's shaped. So if you put it in the wrong way, it's not going to go. And, oops. So I still say that some kind of neck is going to come up from there. I really need to sort this camera out, guys. I'm so sorry, I'm working off camera. If you hear a noise in the background, I do apologise. Little Spirit is playing with a screw, and I'm just leaving her to it because it's not causing anyone any harm. So next we've got 1G. Now I notice, oh God, how's this going on? There you go. I think it's just a case of rotating it till you find a fit. Well, it just seems a little bit more detailed there, so that suggests that's the front. Yeah, I think, yes, that goes in like that. There we go. And then we need to take the other side of the head, and that's going to go in. Make sure all lines up properly, which it doesn't want to do, which is always the way with these, isn't it? Right. Oh, this is quite tricky actually. You've got this bit needs to go there, and that bit needs to go underneath that. And let's see if I can do it from the other side. See if that helps. And if we ever get this bit done, we will attach that with some AP screws. Right, maybe that's backwards. Right. It looks like no, I definitely got that the right way round. Yeah, because that's... Oh, there we go. I did have it the right way round, I just didn't quite have it in properly. And now it's falling out again. This is not easy, guys. Really can't. This is not easy. Right, first thing I'm going to do is pop that on without that last piece, just so at least we know it's going to fit. Of course, that could be right. So using the magazine as a guide, that square bit is definitely back towards the back. It just doesn't want to go in very well. There we go, that's a comfortable fit. But then as soon as we put this on, it's trying to jump out. Ah! You know what? I'm not liking this. This is not fun. Right. I'm really tempted to pop some glue in these bits, but I really don't know if that's going to affect the final model. Right. I'm aware that I've not got the magnet in, and I'm doing that on purpose. So I'm going to turn it over and try it from the other side, because this doesn't seem to want to locate unless I've got it upside down, which I haven't. Right, so the square bit is definitely going towards the back. There's no positive location for it on this particular side, unless I've got it too low or too high. See, I think it wants to go that way. I might have to take a little break, guys. Right. So I'm just going to assemble these two sides. So let's have a look. So just looking forward at step 5, this is going on like that. So now we definitely know where the front and the back is. Maybe that's where I'm getting in a muddle. Right. Right. I'm struggling here, guys. I really am. Right. So that definitely, see, that's restricting that screw bit there, that screw hole. But now that feels right. That feels like that's in fine. Oh, you can get the bits in, but then when you bring these in, it doesn't want to go. It really isn't happy going. It's this bottom piece. Now that says to me I've not got it in properly, because if I had it in properly surely it would fit. Look, it's just not lining up. So unless, do you know, surely that's got to go there, isn't it? That's it. Right, so that's what it is. There's a little lip there and it lines up on the bottom. So, oh, that took some time to figure that one out. But actually kudos to the magazine, because if you put the part in the wrong way it's just not going to go, and that's good. You don't want to be able to assemble it incorrectly. Right, let's try that. And all of a sudden it works. Look at that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense now, doesn't it? Now that seems a bit loose in there. I'm sure that'll change once it's starts to become assembled. Right, so AP screws. Found a nice little slot there, I think. So we should be needing 4, and there's no, there's 2 spare screws, I think, unless we need some later on. So let's use the screwdriver, because why not? And that is just big enough. So 1 screw hole, definitely one there. Oh, it's screwing in from the side. That's why I couldn't get it in. Right, so there's 1 screw in, just enough to bite. You know how I work, guys. Well, unless you're a first time viewer. So plastic. But rule number 1, you don't need to over tighten these, because if you over tighten them you run the risk of threading it, and then you'll just be there screwing all day and it will just never connect. Second thing, and this is me personally, I tend to just screw the screws in just enough to bite. Make sure everything's lined up properly. And of course I can't remember what screw holes I've been in. So this one next. Nope. This one. Must be this one. This is a magnetised screwdriver. Right, so that's in just a little bit loose, and we just can make sure that all fits. And then what we do is to tighten them, we turn, can you see that that's pulling together? And then it will tell us when it's ready. There you go, the resistance changes. So on to the next one. Lovely. Perfect. And then this one. Perfect. Then what we do is we check the parts. There's no movement there. Now if there was a little bit of movement, we can go back into those screws and just give them maybe a quarter or a half turn, and we just keep going until we've got to a point where we're happy. But I am happy with that. That's not going to go anywhere in a hurry. Right, so next step, we're going to pop that down. We need to take the helmet, which is this piece here, and we need to take the 2 earpieces, and we also need QP screws. So we'll get 2 screws out ready, hopefully without the label. And I'm just using this as a little pot, because it just then means they're not going to go anywhere. Now these QPs are, apart from being difficult to get out, they are what I call top hat screws. Oops. And by top hat screws it means they have a washer built in, so that just makes life easier. Right, so on the side of the head there we've got, can you see there's a little channel on each side, and these pieces, it's like a little key fitting in. So that goes in like that. So that's the easiest way to do it. Just, sorry, bear with me a sec. So actually that was my alarm telling me to get up. Now I'd set my alarm for 6 AM, because I needed to be up, but actually I woke up a bit early, and I forgot to set my alarm, take my alarm off. Right, I'm not 100% now. This is quite tricky. You'll do it with this screwdriver, but can you see I've got a screw at an angle, and we are screwing into plastic, so we've just got to be very, very careful. And then we've got to make sure that that's on. Do you know what, that's nice. What a difference that's just made. One little tiny piece. So yeah, just make sure that you're screwing in as best you can. Now, to go back to this, I couldn't get the last, it just really stuck in there. So with this piece, you don't need to line it up perfectly. I'm going to purposely put this up so it's not lined up. So take the piece and then just rotate it. Grip it, and then there you go, it just falls into place. Perfect. So it doesn't have to be lined up perfectly because it's a circle. Just pop it in and just keep rotating it, and if you can't rotate it, can't grip it with your hand, maybe get a piece of blue tack, place the blue tack on this piece and then rotate it with blue tack. It'll get there. So there we go. I say I don't really like screwing at an angle, but you have no choice there. But that is that piece done, and that's really nice. I think they made the job really hard for themselves, because obviously this is stage 1 and we're now expecting this for the entire build. Right, so the next bit we want is our 1J, which is the magnet holder. Now you'll see you've got 2 screw holes in the top of the head, and you've got 2 screw holes there. Place the magnet holder inside the helmet to check that the orientation is correct. Ensure that the arrow marked on 1J is in the same direction as the larger one inside the helmet. Larger one, oh there we go. So I didn't notice that, you've got a big arrow there. Fix in place with 2 EM screws, then place the magnet 1H in the holder. So that's going to go in like that. Now, I want to know what happens if we place this the wrong way. Does it actually make a difference? I can't see that it does. But we'll place it how they want. So we want, and that's why we had extra screws. So we want the EM screws to screw that holder in. Now remember what I said about the P and the M. You're going to be holding a helmet which is obviously metal, and then you've got a plastic part, so you're going to think plastic screws. Remember the target is metal. So we get 1 screw. Remember this is going into metal. Now you might find it easier to put a little bit of oil on the screw. I'm going to see how it goes, because sometimes, most of the time, these are going to cut their own threads in. Now what I do, can you see how that's really loose? Because I've only just put that in just enough to bite. And then I'm going to pop the second one in, because at any point this piece could slip, so you just want to keep checking it's in, and I think that's lined in properly. Now I'm going to be honest with you, this screwdriver is no better or worse than the one we got with the Rootmaster many years ago, but I've used it because it's there. I don't think it's going to be my go-to screwdriver. Now if you look after this screwdriver, I still have the Rootmaster screwdriver and it's still fairly decent. If you look after this screwdriver, I'm pretty confident it'll last till the end of the build. But you might want to invest in your own favourite screwdriver. Now I'll give you a bit of advice on screwdrivers. Go for the one that you're happy with. I've used this one for a very long time, as it's not got a screwdriver head in it. I like it because it's a ratchet screwdriver, and it just works really well. I can use it as a precision screwdriver, I can use it heavy duty. It's a really good screwdriver. people have argued with me about little small electrical screwdrivers, and that's fine. If they like those screwdrivers, then that's brilliant. Right, so yeah, basically if you want to invest in a screwdriver, go for the one that you want and the one you're happy with. Don't be swayed by other people. Listen to people's opinions, but don't, just because they say you need this particular screwdriver, don't believe that you need that particular screwdriver. Right, so that magnet's going in there. Now obviously what I'm going to do, you've got a screw hole and you've got its countersunk for the screw to go in. So with the countersunk bit up, pop it into the magnet holder. Oh, this is going all over the place. And just obviously make sure you can see the screw hole through the countersunk piece. And that will be attached with a P-screw, because we're going into plastic. Remember, we've just used metal screws to screw the holder in, because the holder is going into the metal, but this is going into the holder, which is plastic. Now this might, yeah, it's going to be difficult because it's magnet. What you might find easier is if you hold that screw on your screwdriver, place it inside the magnet, and then bring the piece. Well, once you've got a little purchase on the screw, that, see, this is the problem with the magnet. It makes life tricky for you. It's going to make life better with the actual model. Oh God, it's trying so hard to pull the screwdriver away from the screw onto the magnet, but that has eventually lost the fight and I won, and in that goes. Now we have nothing to test this on, which is a slight disappointment. From the lump on there and the lump in there, oh actually we have got, oh we have, look at that, because obviously we've got the magnet in there, and I would say that's a fit. That's, yeah, I wouldn't go shaking this, but it's definitely going to hold. Yeah, so if you shake it hard enough it will come off, but it will hold pretty good. Anyway, we have one last piece to do, and that's piece 1B, and I can see there that this visor slips into, you've got a locating places for it. So I don't really know which is the right way and which is the wrong way, but that goes in there absolutely fine. Look at that. So let's pop that on there, hopefully the correct way round. Now, we've got the back of the head there with all the detail. Obviously some of that will get covered up with the actual rest of the model. Now, from what I understand, there is going to be a silicon face going over there. So that's what it looks like now. That is definitely Robocop, isn't it? So that's the finished model, and it says that your Robocop model is a meticulous reproduction of the character seen on screen and accurate in every detail. So we just want that. Now it does say in the poster, which I've put down somewhere, maybe someone's eaten it, that it's going to be silicon. But to be honest with you, this is the perfect place to start, isn't it? I can see that something's going to go in there, so the head's going to be able to move, and yeah. So why does that need to come off, do you think, guys? Is it because, well, he does actually take his head off in the film, doesn't he? So maybe that's what it is. But normally you'd expect to be pulling his head off for things like, they might put the batteries in there. But no. Right, so there we go, guys. That is issue 1. Now, coming in issue 2, we are working on... whoops. We're working on the right foot, and it tells us the area that we're working on. So the question I have, will we work on the right foot following up from the left right leg, and then we'll work on the other foot and leg, and then we'll mate them together with the torso? Or are we going to do random pieces? I really hope that we work with some kind of logic. I would have liked to have worked on the neck next, but then, you know, I don't know. It's how they've done it. But yeah, so in the next video, issue 2, right foot. Rather happy with that build. I'm very happy with that. It works. It does what it needs to do. The pieces are really good quality, actually. And it just goes, apart from that little bit, which I'll show you the instructions, guys, because I'm very tempted to say it's my fault, but look, this is the instructions for that particular stage, and I suppose you've got the arrow there pointing at the bottom, but it was quite difficult to work out, but we got there in the end. And when you get there at the end, you're like, yeah, I enjoyed that model, and that's what it's all about. Doesn't matter about how you, well, funny with motorbikes, we say it's not the destination, it's the journey. With Partworks, it's a little bit opposite, isn't it? It doesn't matter about the journey as long as you reach the destination. Anyway, guys, so I will catch you in issue 2. Thank you very much for watching, and we will be doing the right foot. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.